quickly come in and do a video about changing the story, and as I speak I realise I don't have my headphones in, which is new for me. There's great comfort with having my headphones in because it takes me into a place where I can hear more clearly, and now I really feel like I need to trust that that has actually occurred, that I can continue to go into that space within where I can hear clearly, but without having to shut off everything else, which has just come to me. So I'm going to do a video today about stories and looking at what story we're writing, what story we're reading, especially leading up to Halloween, the thin veil between ourselves and our ancestors, which is always thin, but a time where we recognize it more. And by recognition alone, by awareness alone, that can be enough just to widen and increase the ability to connect to our ancestors, or whatever it is we're trying to connect to. Awareness in itself is the first step. So today, looking at stories, whether they are ours, whether they are our ancestors, and how to not disregard the chapters before we came along, but to take the information and create the ending that suits us and ultimately those that have come before us. As you might notice in this video today, I have curly hair, and I've always had curly hair. When I was younger it was natural, but there were also times when I would have it permed. And where I lived was a very poverty-stricken area, and a lot of us had our hair curled at that time. It was one of our trademarks, if you like. Everyone knew we came from that particular area. It was very stereotypical. We had curly hair, we had creoles, you know, facial piercings, things like that, and we were always deemed as, oh, they must come from this area. I didn't mind that. I didn't mind having that energy about me where people knew my journey. Because yes, we did lack things as children. But like anything in life, the things that we lacked actually brought awareness to the great things that we had. For myself personally, it was family. It always has been family. People that through thick and thin, despite our differences, will hold each other's back, and a great strength that comes from continuing to rise up despite adversity. And we all have that. We all have that to one degree or another, regardless of how much money we have, what jobs we have, our relationships. We have all gone through something that has strengthened our character. And that can become our story. So obviously, the things that we inherit from our ancestors, it isn't just about our DNA, it is about our stories as well. That continues down the line. So back to the curly hair. It was with my first relationship, actually. I met somebody when I was very young who knew the stereotypical energy of curly hair and where I came from, and their life was completely different to mine, and any reminder of that just served to separate us rather than unite us in our differences. It separated us. My story separated us. So under great duress, I had my curls removed. I had my hair cut very, very short, and after that I continued to straighten my hair, not through heating, but definitely through continually washing out natural oils that would make my hair lift up, through brushing it, tying it back, plaiting out, that kind of stuff. And it wasn't until a few days ago that I realised, I have curly hair through a method that's actually online, which removes all of those restrictive, heavy, weighed down chemicals in your hair and all that kind of stuff. But also B, it's who I am. It's part of who I am, just like my story. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of who I am, where I've come from, and those that have walked before me. And just by changing, by being aware, but then also changing aspects that affect my awareness, my perception of my awareness, I can feel that begin to unravel not only my story, but those that have come before me. And underneath that, there's great medicine. So this month in particular, personally, I drew the High Priestess this month for myself, but I also drew the Ten of Pentacles, and there was a deep underlying message of sharing, not the drama, not the darkness, but the light that I have gained from the adversities in my life. Our stories are wonderful things, but they can either weigh us down. No, they can weigh us down. That is either through positivity or negativity. You know, our stories can stop us from moving forward and hold us back, but also they can become everything, which ultimately stops us from moving forward and holds us back. So our stories are triggers to finding the light within, like the journey to the underground, that is very famous throughout myth and lore and legend. Whether it's the High Priestess in the tarot and finding intuitive knowledge from going within, whether it is Persephone and the pomegranate seed, whether it is all those famous goddesses before us or ancestors before us that have had that moment in life that just takes them into the dark night of the soul. Whatever it is that takes us there, we have all done it. Many people come out of the dark night of the soul either connected to a deeper spirituality or a way forward. Very few see the dark night of the soul for what it actually is. And that is the understanding that there is no darkness, that there is no light, that there is no support outside of you, that we are all one. When we're in the dark night of the soul, there are moments where nothing or nobody can help. And that isn't as a form of punishment. That isn't as being detached from our faith or our hope. That isn't a great opportunity to realize without faith in ourselves, we have faith in nothing. So next year in particular, being the Hierophant year, I have said it before, there are opportunities where we are going to be unsure and we are going to seek guidance outside of ourselves. With that comes the need for balance. There is also a great potential for self-mastery over the next, well, always, but particularly over the next few decades. Actually, from now until 2032, 33, most definitely, there is a great opportunity for self-mastery. So much like our stories, much like those around us who reflect these stories, because that is what we do to each other, much like those around us that trigger these stories, they are all steps to a journey that many of us try to avoid, a journey of descent where we know ultimately nothing lasts forever. Ultimately, nothing belongs to us. Ultimately, the one person that is with us throughout our life is ourselves. And that can be very fearful, but it can also be very empowering, knowing that the only person that can actually get you through whatever it is you are going through right now is you. It can be very tempting to then push away anybody else, as there is no point if it is just you to get you through it. But we are here to help each other, to share the wisdom, to be each other's birth partners. When there are moments when we feel like we can't do something, somebody else cannot take that away from us. We have free will, whether it is an angelic guide, whether it is an ancestor, whether it is a dear friend or a tarot card. That energy cannot do it for us, but they can help support back what we already know. That you've got this. That every time you have walked through this path, every time you have gone through this rites of passage, this fire of transformation in your life, you have survived. And you have got this. So from now until next year in particular, there is a real strong energy rising to stand in that you know, to stand in who you are. So with that in mind, I'm going to do a live in the group on Facebook, which I'll put the link in the comment, to look at our stories and how best to move forward on an individual basis. But with that in mind, collectively, what is the collective story? I'm looking at a picture above my altar, and there's two blackbirds, which is great wisdom, flying above a baby bird being protected by a skull and the moon. Oh, the card has just fallen out. Collectively, it feels like we are being fed by a very ancient energy to aid us to stand in the elders that we are becoming, the masters that we are becoming. The other day, whilst I was meditating, I was laying down looking at the sky just before the sun come up, and the pre-dawn colours of the sky were the most beautiful indigo, deep blues. And I could see a star, and I do believe it was Mars, because afterwards I found out that Mars was quite close to us. I do believe it was Mars, but as I was looking at it, I felt like it almost, this star shimmered off energy coming down to us, assistance. And I can really feel that. I can really feel an ancient vibration coming down to help now. Not even coming down, but being attuned within us. It's always been there. It's always been there. But the outside circumstances somehow triggering that, knowing that energy within us. So seeing everything around us right now as steps to find that potential energy within us. That's what it really feels like collectively. So let's look at the card. So we have the Knight of Pentacles here. Slow, steady progress, but progress all the same. Often when we stop, often when we experience the descent, when we go within, when we go into the void, when we have those moments where we just surrender, we see that as not doing anything, when actually it is one of the biggest moments of creation. In that second where there is no expectation, where there is no ideas, where we have reached that point of just not knowing. You know, there are times when we get up and get knocked down, and we get up and get knocked down, and eventually when we just say, okay, and stop, like the Knight of Pentacles, that's when the growth starts to take form. Not only do we see where we've come from, clearly see where we've come from, clearly see what it is we're trying to achieve, we take that breather and we let go of anything that is just too heavy to take forward, particularly the needs of others or the stories of others right now. So I say collectively, but I was looking at those cards and I can really, really, really feel a dream that I had last night about the Knights Templar and my own inner crusade, if you will, protecting the feminine and taking that wisdom forward, that balance of the elements within us and the cross and something that has gone down through my family line. I could really feel that when I looked at the cards. So collectively, it's the same for us all. Whatever has gone down through your family line over the next few days in particular, especially leading up to Halloween actually, look at the family story, the family soul story here. Realize you are a potential catalyst for change within your family soul, and that you are a valid member of your family soul. We all have our roles. We all have our reasons for being in that particular family. It's when we get confused as to what our roles are that everything gets mismatched and the story gets confusing. So collectively, what is the story that is being played out? And how can we move forward? Wow. Page of Pentacles. So almost going back a step from the Knight of Pentacles to the Page of Pentacles. And when I say that, I think, oh, Why do we have to go back a step? But actually regaining that innocence, getting off our high horse. Yeah, coming down from the horse that we were on, getting off our high horse, putting our feet firmly on the ground, taking what we have learnt and doing the work, bringing it down now, okay, rather than riding forward on our own little journey, our own little path, our own little horse, getting off our high horse and bringing what we know down into the sight now for all to see, doing the work, walking the path. The story, the lovers, okay, Adam and Eve. So that really resonates for me right now with my family situation. But Adam and Eve, knowing that we never actually left the Garden of Eden, knowing that everything is in abundance, our whole journey, it is about us now taking what has happened to us and realizing, cliche as it sounds, it's happened for us. It is up to us to decide with free will. The lovers is very much about choice, with free will, to see the bigger picture, but also hone in on what we have learned and move forward with that. Okay, realizing we're not separate, we're not masculine, we're not feminine, we are the one, and bringing that together in all that we decide to do, because next to it, the Tower. Collectively, it feels like the same story over and over and over again, realizing that in order to bring about change, we walk the path, we make the decisions, we become the masters of our own life. We take back that sovereignty. We change the story by just letting go of it. In the Tower, we just let go. That is not my story anymore. Whether it is currently and you don't want it to be, whether it hasn't been for a while, that is not my story. That is not what I'm taking forward. What I'm taking forward is the gold from that, what I've learned from that, but not the actual story. The love that we take forward from our journey is what the Page of Pentacles actually holds. And bringing that now into the path, getting off of our high horse, not separating ourselves from the ground below, but walking it, bringing that abundance down through us into the earth, recognizing that we are and can change the story just by letting it go. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Take a moment every time something comes up that is familiar to you and try and look at it from a different angle, from a different perspective. Take that moment to make a choice to see things differently. The moment you see something differently, the moment you have an awareness, things start to change. So pick your awareness. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Bye.